It's an end of a week that also marks an end of an era, which is SuperSport United's reign as a top-flight club, with the status being sold off to the newly formed Siwelele. I'm pleased to say a long-serving captain in Ricardo Katza, legend of the club, joins me now for this conversation. Ricardo, thank you so much for your time. I know it's probably not been the easiest of times. You've got a lot of memories as a SuperSport United player, but let's firstly just speak on hearing the news. What was the initial reaction? What was the feeling at the time?
For me, when I heard the news the first time, it was a bit mixed emotions. I think there was a bit of anger, and then there was like, what's actually happening here? And then when you look at what's been happening with the club, and the one game you go and celebrate with Coach Kevin Hunt, his 1000th game, and then a couple of weeks later, the team is fighting relegation, and he's been let go, and we don't really know what's going on, and all I'm thinking about the academy, because to me, that was the backbone of the club. You know, as much as the first team was there, obviously the academy has brought a lot of players through the ranks to be able to play in the first team, and also probably almost every club in the PSL.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the academy. It's an interesting point that you come across over the course of these couple of days. A few of the players that came through that academy have been posting about their memories as little kids wearing the SuperSport United jerseys, the Khape Moralos, Chandre Campbell, Jamie Webber, players who are even playing abroad at the moment. You know, just talk us through what happens at that academy, because it produces so many good players.
And I wanted to coach in the SuperSport Academy because of the players they were producing. You know, and I think for me as a coach there, I think the most successful year was 2015, when we came last in the future champs. You know, there was this in Soweto. So we came dead last. The team from India didn't come out, so we then ended second last, which means we lost. But what was nice about that same team, then a year later, lost in the final against the Torino from Italy. And 7 of those players from that team went to go and represent South Africa at the 2015 Chile World Cup, and the 17 Chile World Cup. And I think that's why I said it was successful, because it wasn't just at SuperSport, but they went on to go and represent the country. Nelson Maluleka, Kanisa Mayo, I think Qoshe, Katlego Moame, Montlim Poto. You know, those were kids that came through, Riaz Ismail, you know, those kids that came through, and to have seen that the same team that came last the year before, then went on a year later.
Just talk us through some of the uncertainty the current crop of SuperSport United players might be facing at the moment. What is the advice that you give to them? What are some of those things that they're trying to navigate right now in this space of confusion, I'm sure?
I had a bit of experience when Bloemfontein Celtic got sold to Royal AM, because I was in Bloemfontein. And I remember some of the guys, when they go drop their kids at school in the morning, and in the afternoon they were told to be in Durban because the club was sold. Now imagine you had to pick up your child. So I was in Bloemfontein at the time. I think that was about 2018 or later on 2019, somewhere. Yeah, I think 2020, somewhere there. But I was there. I was in Bloemfontein. Yes. I was there. So and I saw the impact it had on the city like Bloemfontein. Because only when you're in Bloemfontein you actually realize how big Bloemfontein Celtic is.
A lot of people, especially social media, the supporters, the theory for them is that had SuperSport United been able to hold on to some of their asset players, do you feel as if the model of selling those players has come back to bite the club?
On the outside, it doesn't make sense. If you look at SuperSport United and you look at SuperSport DStv and you look at what's happening, we watch DStv. You know, every single household has got you. So you might be thinking that solely that with that amount of money that they have, they should be investing in the club. And why would the club not have money? But then you're selling your top players. What are you doing with the money? Where's the money going to? Is there something that we didn't know that was happening? You know, but I wasn't into that. I wasn't into that, if I can say politics or whatever about that. I never wanted to find out why they're selling. All I was seeing that the top players were being sold, and when they got to another club, their performance went through the roof. And I think you could have done that at SuperSport, but why haven't you done that? So selling players, did SuperSport become a selling club? But then what happened to the money? You know, where was the money going to? Was it going back into the academy?
For Newzroom Afrika, channel 405, I am Yolulwe Qoshe in Randburg, in Johannesburg.